So I'm starting out by just turning her by using my leg position and not even turning her with my hands. So I've got my inside leg on the girth, outside leg back, and toe is in. So again, my outside toe is behind my inside heel. And I'm just turning her by looking left, thumbs are pointed left, curling my outside leg back and turning my toe in. Now I'm going to slowly, little by little, change to the right rider position. I'm going to look right, pull my outside shoulder back. It's got to stay stacked over my outside leg. My outside leg toe is turned in. I'm looking right. My thumbs are pointed right. My inside leg is on. My outside toe is well behind my inside heel. My outside toe is turned in. And I just give gentle squeezes when I feel like she's not continuing to turn right. If she's continuing to turn right like she is right now, then I just sit here and am quiet in the position. Now I'm going to go to straight rider. Look straight, thumb straight, toes straight. Now I'm going to look left, thumbs left, outside shoulder back, outside leg back. I'm turning her with my outside leg. A little bit of inside rein if I feel like I need it. Again, my head's turned left, my thumbs are angled left, my inside heel is in front of my outside toe. My outside toe is slightly turned in when I ask her to turn. And if she's turning, then I just sit neutral. If I think she's stopping the left turn, then I give her a little squeeze with my legs and remind her to keep her core in the concave bend to the left. Now I'm going to go to straight rider. So she was very good about that. So when she first came, if you put your legs on, she would start hopping up and down, acting like she was going to rear, because she didn't really understand why the legs were on her body. Now she's starting to understand that the legs actually give guidance. Good. So I just gave her a little tap with the stick because she was a little slow with her hind end. Now I'm in a little shoulder in. Now I'm going to straighten her out of shoulder in. I'm going to change my leg position, and again I'm going to look right, thumbs right, outside leg back and in, and she turns right. Now I'm going to come around and do a little leg yield off my right leg. Again, I'm not going to worry that her pole's a little low. I'm not going to worry that she's a little behind the bit. I'm sacrificing those things right now, and I can come back and fix them later. What's more important is that she understands the function of my legs, that she turns, bends, leg yields off of my leg. Now I'm going to do a little leg yield. So I'm going to square up my shoulders. I'm steadying the outside rein and adding inside leg. Now. And again, I don't push every step. If I push and she leg yields away, then I take the pressure away and I just let her glide in the leg yield. And if again I feel her starting to stop in the leg yield, then I'm going to reapply the leg yield aid. So I'm going to square up my shoulders. I'm going to open my outside rein slightly. Inside seat bone, inside leg simultaneously. And I'm going to squeeze now. And now relax, because she's gliding over nicely. That was very good. Again, in the beginning, she didn't know how to turn, or how to leg yield off the inside leg. So now, I'm going to change direction by doing a half turn on the forehand. So I'm going to do a little shoulder in. I'm going to look over my right shoulder. I'm going to steady her outside shoulder and ask her to step around with her inside hind leg. Good girl. Good. And again, she didn't understand any of that before. She'd start bracing in her core, bracing in her shoulder, certainly bracing in her hindquarters, and get a little hoppy in front. Good girl. So now I'm just going to repeat to the left. So I think I'll do the leg yield first. So again, I'm going to get on my quarter line. I'm going to square my shoulders up. Now I'm going to make sure I'm in my left seat bone, and I'm going to use outside rein and left seat bone. And as soon as she leg yields her left hind off of my left leg, then I stop pushing her over and just let her glide. We'll do that again. She has a tendency to be heavier in the right rein, and so I do a lot of counterflexion, suppling her on that right outside rein so she doesn't get stiff on it. So I'm going to counterflex her, but continue to leg yield. Good girl. Now I'm going to reflex her left. Good girl. Good. Now I'm going to turn down quarter line. I'm going to look left, thumbs left, use my outside and inside leg to turn her. Now I'm going to go straight rider. Now I'm going to go into my position for shoulder in. Good. And I'm going to do just a little turn on the forehand again, steadying outside rein, inside leg, outside rein, inside leg simultaneously. Again, if she responds, then I relax and let her just glide through it. And that one was pretty big, which is fine, because she didn't get bracy, she didn't get tense, she didn't hop up. So I don't need it to be small in the beginning. Matter of fact, I prefer it's pretty big, sacrificing the size of the turn on the forehand for just getting her to be supple in her back, stepping under with her inside hind. Good girl. We're going to let her have a little mental break here for a second. Let her stretch out. Her free walk is now excellent. She really knows how to stretch down and out, seek the contact of the bit. She's now learned that the contact of the bit is actually a safe, happy, positive space, which is why she's stretching down so nicely. Now, picking her back up has been the tricky part, putting her back together without her bracing, without her stiffening in her right jaw, and without her getting a little hoppy. So we'll see how she is today. She's been getting much better. So when I go from the long rein to the short rein, I'm grabbing the buckle of the rein, making a C with my hand. I'm putting it on both reins and slowly sliding through. And I have to be a good steward of not disrupting her balance, not disrupting her forward flow. Little by little, I shorten the reins. Little by little, I'm always checking in on her mental balance and on her physical balance. Is she lifting her back? Is she stepping under? Is she staying supple and straight so that she doesn't get bracy and hoppy and resistive? So that was actually excellent. And so now I'm going to do a halt transition. Again, she's had a lot of problems with this, worked through a lot. As I go into the walk, again, little by little, baby half halts. I keep asking her to step under behind with my seat and my leg. Again, I don't worry about her getting overly round in front. Keep stepping under, under, under as I steady the front. Because before, what would happen is she would brace on your hand, and she'd drag her hind end and brace behind and get slow behind instead of quick behind. She'd get slow behind, flatten her back, throw her head up, stiffen in her whole entire body. Oh, good girl. And then she'd get a little bracy in rear. So walking forward again into the contact. That was all very good. So now we're going to go ahead and move to a little warm-up trot. Then we're going to go whole arena with that. Again, I'm always checking in on my balance. Do I have a straight line, ear, shoulder, hip, heel? Now I'm going to check in on her balance. Is her head between her shoulders? Is her nose slightly in front of the right shoulder on the turn? And is it super straight on the straightaway? Look right. Really get my outside leg back so I'm turning her back in. That's what's important to me. That I'm bending her in the core. And I'm going to turn her back, and I'm using my outside leg to turn her hindquarters. My inside leg is keeping her rib cage bent to the right. My head's turned right. Thumbs are slightly to the right. And she has to stay within the boundaries that my body is setting. My outside leg is back. And now I'm going to go straight. Straight rider position. Right rider. Good girl. She's starting to get much more relaxed in her tempo or rate of speed. We went through a phase of her being very tense, very quick, while she was starting to learn about the rider's aids. But again, some of that you just have to let go, because you know it'll get better as she gets more comfortable with having the contact of the leg and the hand to help guide her with her balance. Again, I'm going to check in on my balance. Ear, shoulder, hip, heel. I'm going to make sure my outside leg is back. My toe is turned in because I'm on a circle. My toes are up. My elbows are in. My hands are down by the saddle pad. Now I'm going to straighten her. I'm going to straighten myself. I'm going to go into left rider. Good. Now I'm going to start doing some leg yielding. I'm going to square my shoulders up. I'm going to use left leg, right rein simultaneously. And I just do however many pushovers is required. I don't push every step, because if I use an asking leg to leg yield and she goes over, ask, no, you're all right. So there I tapped her with the stick. It was an accident, and she just has to be forgiving about it. I don't get worried or upset about it. Okay, so now I'm going to use my left leg. If anything, I just reinforced my left leg. Good. And she understands now what the whip means. So that was a very good leg yield. I do it one more time. And now I'm going to add a counter bend in the leg yield. I'm going to bend her right. I'm going to bend her left, but I continue to leg yield in that. And that just makes sure that she's soft in that right rein. She wasn't able to do that before because she was so heavy in the right rein. I'll let her go forward a little bit. And I'm going to bring her back a little bit. Right rider. And we're going to repeat the exercise this way. Good. Square my shoulders up. A little right leg. And just let her glide. Very nice. Good girl. Good. That was so good, I'm just going to go on. So now we're going to work on a little bending exercise. So I'm going to counter bend her to the outside. So I'm going to look left little by little so I don't knock her off balance. I'm going to open my new outside rein, which is my right rein. Outside leg is back, which is now my right leg. I'm going to use my left leg to push her shoulder around into the open receiving right rein so that she's in counter bend. So I have a concave bend now to the left, but I'm circling to the right. And this is an excellent way to check in and make sure that they understand the rider's aids for a left bend, and that I can push her shoulder over. Good girl. Now I'm going to do the same exercise this way. So I'm going to slowly, little by little, without disrupting her balance, I'm going to change my position to the right rider. Look right, thumb right. Get my new outside leg back. New inside leg on, pushing her shoulder around. She gets a little more tense this way because she's stiffer to the right there. That was good giving. Good. Good girl. She was stiffer in her right belly, stiffer in her right shoulder. So this is a little harder exercise. She doesn't have it quite as well the other way, but she's trying. Good. So I'm going to look over my right shoulder. I want to have the same bend in front of my leg as I have behind my leg. And I can push her shoulder and, more importantly, her rib cage around to an open left rein. Good. Good girl. And little by little, I'm going to change back to the left. Good. And we're just going to go straight. Come on. Straight down alongside. Give her a little break mentally. Good. Good. Now I'm going to start some 10-meter circles. Yeah, checking in on asking for a little more bend. I'm going to flex her jaw left. Close my outside leg. You've got this, little one. Good. I don't care if it's not right on center line. What I care about is the bend in her core. And that was quite good. So this time I'm going to ask for a little bit more bend. And she was able to get closer to center line. Good girl. Good. Very nice. Good girl. So now I'm going to cross the diagonal with just a little bit of a lengthening. Just started asking her to move forward and maintain her balance with a little more impulsion. Soften my bottom 3 fingers. And now I'm going to close my bottom 3 fingers. Bring her back to me. Good girl. Bringing her back up and being supple. Whoops. And now I'm going to do some 10-meter circles to the right. I'm going to supple her jaw right. I can half halt with that outside rein if I need to. Hands are down. And I'm going to circle one more time. Ask for a little more bend with curling my outside leg back and in. Turning my toe in to help get her hindquarters around a little more. And one of the reasons she was so tense in her jaw and her shoulder and her body to the right is because she didn't know or understand how to bring the hindquarters around the inside leg. So both your horses are the same in that regard. So that tells me that the riders are not using enough outside leg or don't have their outside leg in the proper position. So you want to think of your homework as really being clear with Topper right now that your outside leg is way behind your inside leg. Good girl. Give her a little break. That your outside leg is way behind your inside leg whenever you're turning, and that you're using the outside leg to turn that outside hind hip of hers, to keep her outside leg under and active. So I'm going to supple her jaw right, look right. I'm closing my outside thigh, outside calf, outside toe is turned in. I am using my inside leg. My inside leg is holding and keeping the bend. Good girl. Come on. Good. But my outside leg